And Chris has joined us on Post Show 16, everyone. Welcome back, Chris.
If only you had that power.
If only I had that power.
One day. Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 16 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast post show, where myself, Chris, one of your hosts, and the techie teacher to my left, your right, still teaching around, joins us. Welcome back, Tom. Teaching around.
Hi. Yes, I'm still here.
For a little bit longer until the holiday season kicks in. And
holidays are coming.
Yeah. Will the Coca-Cola Christmas truck be out this year? Or will COVID
I
lock
don't know
it
whether...
down?
Yeah, I was going to say it's stuck somewhere because of COVID.
I don't see why not, because it's just driving around.
I suppose Santa does actually socially
Spread
distance
it.
because nobody ever gets close enough. But he does. He uses gloves. I think he's COVID safe. I don't know.
Let us
He stops
know.
going down the chimney, he just starts chucking the presents through the window.
Yes.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments below if you think Santa is in fact COVID safe. We'd love to know.
Good start. Here we go again.
Below him, the man of many pixels joins us once again for this post-show discussion. Mr. Richie, welcome back, even though you didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you did.
Christmas is in December. Fight me in the comments.
Oh, that's a challenge. You're risking a lot throwing that out there, Richie. But we are here this week for Post Show 16 as we come up on the end of the year, and discussion inevitably lends itself to what is the game of the year. We wanted to take this week and the next few weeks just to discuss the games of a generation on the cusp of Stadia reaching its second anniversary, and PlayStation 5 launching, and Xbox Series X, and inevitably another Switch Pro. We wanted to break down every week just a category of a couple of the games we've been playing, a couple of games we've experienced, a couple of the games that sold absolute gangbuster numbers as gaming has gone from strength to strength this generation. Remember, everybody, gaming was dead, consoles were dead, all that kind of crap, and then here we are. The gaming industry is just an absolute behemoth of money and power and industry, and it's so fun. It's the best entertainment medium in my opinion. I enjoy movies, I enjoy music, but I do not enjoy anything more than sitting down with a good game and playing the shit out of it, gentlemen. So first up this week then, for week one of our Games of a Generation discussion, we're going to be focusing on the one and only Nintendo Switch, where we've had a lot of titles out. Tom hasn't went and got his. He does actually
I feel
own one.
left out now. I do. It's just in the other room.
Is there any way you can prove you've got one without getting it?
I think we trust him.
Question.
What could we ask him, Richie, that only a real Switch owner would know?
I can just check my friends list. Do I have Tom on my friends list?
I doubt it.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anyone on.
There you go.
Wow. There you go.
So there we go.
There
There's
he
your
is.
proof.
Does your left
Thank you, Richie.
Does your left Joy-Con drift?
No, I was very fortunate that it doesn't. I
Core Switch
do.
does.
I can, however, tell you that I've got two sets of Switch controllers. I've got the blue and the red set. And then we got with... Oh, I've just remembered. We had Lego DC Villains on Switch, which we got the lime green and the purple neon controllers as well, which are awesome.
Were they not the
I'm
Splatoon ones?
They were the Splatoon ones. However, we got them for DC DC Villains. Sorry,
It's very much the
I'm
Joy-Con
one
colours,
is like-
right?
Pretty much every coloured Joy-Con I've liked the look of. I don't like the mix match though. I like it both the same. It's like the one I wanted actually was the Mario Odyssey red ones.
Yeah.
But when I went to buy my Switch, they didn't have any left, so I just got grey.
Yeah. They're not cheap either.
did-
The Joy-Cons.
Not at all.
For what are just two little things.
Yeah.
I
I mean, there's a lot of technology in it, so
That is true. Those ice cubes don't shake themselves.
yeah.
That the demoed. So obviously we are gamers. We say on the podcast quite often that we play wherever makes you the most happy. In fact, Richie, that's what you coined. In the vein of Shigeru Miyamoto, that's your favourite go-to phrase, and we applaud you for it. But talking about the Switch and games of a generation, there's a long list of games here, and this kind of leads back into when we talk about Stadia and why exclusives are so important, and we're so happy that they've got their own studios and they're working on exclusive titles, because if anyone, aside from PlayStation, are to ring true to that message that exclusives are incredibly important, it is Nintendo. 100%. Their consoles pretty much live or die by the quality of their exclusive output. And so much so on this, I think we'll work up probably from the top 15 upwards. Richie, you're probably going to be our go-to expert, 'cause I think you've played more of these games than most of us have, in depth anyway. Coming in at number 15 of all selling Switch games, we've got The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which I think was one of your probably best games of the year. Oh.
Link's Awakening is one of my favourite games of all time. That remake is awesome. I love that game. I really love that game.
So with the remake, that's when they made it with like almost like the claymation style, didn't they? With the little like blobby people instead.
Blobby people.
Yeah. I got the I actually got like, I think it was like the Founders Edition or whatever it's called. So I've got like a full map of Koholint Island, which I probably need to put up in this office somewhere.
Frame it.
Yeah, I probably did put it on the wall. The problem is I could put it on the wall behind my PC.
In the mirror.
So then the mirror pick it up, but be all reversed. Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, is a map reversed? You can still read it, right?
As long as I see the egg on the top of the mountain.
It's more text and stuff. Like,
as long as I see that egg.
I mean, it won't be reversed for you, and I very much doubt we can see the text. No one's going to be looking at your camera going, hang on a minute.
It's inverted.
It's inverted. You could just flip your camera. Would that work?
Could do, yeah.
So it's flipped in the mirror, then you flip it back. But then that would upset everyone watching along at home because nobody likes it switched. Just like if me and Tom switch positions on the podcast, that would infuriate a load of people.
Yeah, if Richie's guitars were on the other side of the room.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the fourth dimension like that.
No mind flips.
Get freaked out by my room anyway because of the mirror.
The mirror dimension. It's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
But Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, shortly followed up by Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which only just came out. The fact that that's in the top 15 and it only came out, last month? Like, Shadow dropped for the 35th anniversary of Mario. Yeah. I, for one, have that game and I've not yet opened it.
Well, I wouldn't do it quickly because it's timed. The clock's ticking on that game. Isn't that the one the clock's ticking on?
Yeah, but I own it, so I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
I thought that was the point. It's like, once, like, at some point, you can't play it anymore.
No, but I have the physical boxed version. It's up there.
Oh.
So unless some employee from Nintendo creeps into my house
kicks your
and
door
takes
down.
it back off of me,
yeah,
I'm pretty confident that I can still play it. But you're right, digital-wise, 31st of March, I think it goes off sale.
Yeah.
Why? That makes no sense. It's only for their anniversary. So? That makes no sense.
If it's good and it's selling, just leave it there.
I mean,
I guess it's the first instance actually of when a digital platform actually decides to turn around and say, no, you don't own the game, it's ours, and we can do whatever the hell we want with it. So,
well, if Alex Hutchinson, the creative director at Typhoon Studios, had his way, everything would be safeguarded behind copyright.
That's true.
Stuff.
Very true. Wow.
So what? He might be the person who creeps into my house to steal my copy of All Stars on behalf of Nintendo because it's only a license. So. Watch out for that one. Forget Santa coming down your chimney. Alex,
watch out for Alex coming down your chimney.
Keep an eye on that.
I feel like we're stepping on some legal toes here. I think at some point.
Who watches the post show anyway, other than our lovely patrons?
That was Mario All Stars. I was interested in that game until I realised Super Mario 64 wasn't really being a remaster. Is a little bit of a remaster, but wasn't being like a decent remake. And it's like, not interested anymore. I mean, it's like.
Isn't it just a straight up emulated version in like 4x3 as well? It's not even 16:9.
Yeah, they have said they're bringing out a patch where you can alter the controls. So,
right.
I hope that patch is accessible after March 31st.
Fantastic.
It's one of them games where if you just remade it, put it up for about maybe 30-40 quid, you'd probably make a lot of money because it's a beloved title. So
yeah, well, that's what people are hoping for.
It's not that big of a game to be honest to remake because. Mechanically, it holds up.
Depends on what generation you're at. If you've got the experience, though, I think if you give that game to a 12-year-old now, they'd be like, "Dad, what the hell is this?"
There's not many games where you can chuck a penguin off a mountain, a little baby penguin.
That is very true. That is very true. Speaking of throwing things around, next up we've got Super Mario Maker 2. Where you can make your own levels and blocks, very much in the Little Big Planet style. People were asking for this for amazing. I'm surprised they even made a number 2, because like Mario Maker 1 by creation
sold a lot,
but it should need a sequel, right? Because surely they're just adding more
different platform. Mario Maker 1 was on the 3DS. That one.
Wasn't it on the Wii U?
Yeah, I thought
Was
it
it
was.
Wii U? I think it was Wii U. I'm
Yeah,
3DS.
Yeah,
Wii
there
U.
was definitely a 3DS version, but
Yeah.
I think rather than porting it over to the Switch like they did with some other games, I think they decided to basically take the concept and iterate on it. Because I think there's a lot more in Mario Maker 2
Very
than
true.
there was in 1.
Because
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, there was a fear almost with Mario Maker, like why would they need to put out another 2D Mario game if people can just make infinite levels themselves? And the reason I didn't pick up Mario Maker 2 was because people like to make frustrating levels, and I've learned from Monster Boy and Tom Sure from Sekiro that's not fun for me. Playing a level with like a million Goombas on the screen at once does not do anything for me at all.
I suck at 2D platformers, so I stay away from the 2D Mario games because I'm just terrible at them. So I just find them frustrating rather than fun.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to get some better shoes, because every 2D Mario game I've played recently, he's got no traction on his feet whatsoever.
You need to have a way with Sonic. Sonic's got good shoes.
It just slips and slides around everywhere. So yeah, and I'll throw this one over to you, Tom. In at number 12, we have Ring Fit Adventure, which I know yourself and your other part, Holly, loves to exercise to, I guess. That's still incredibly hard to find. That shit is sold out everywhere still.
That was probably going to be the only title that I actually mentioned amongst these Switch ones. Ring Fit Adventure has actually like completely blown my perception of like a fitness game out the water after like like the Wii Fit stuff. This is actually good because it's actually got gameplay elements with it. The ring feels great. The actual ring with the resistance bands in there, the leg strap. It's a very wholesome RPG style game as well, where you actually exercise to progress through the level you run. I love it. I think it's really fun. I'm still playing it now, but I must admit I've taken a bit of a break. I need to start shedding some pounds.
You shed pounds by just spending money on the Stadia store, do you know?
I pretty much do.
And then we get the games for free.
Hemorrhage
the games for free. But yeah, Ring Fit Adventure, like I said, my missus has been very interested in that one, and we just can't find it anywhere. It's just not available through the Nintendo store.
I think it was one of them. Like during the first lockdown for COVID, it just went off the shelves. Like everyone just bought it. I think it was just one of them ways. How can we keep fit indoors? Well, let's just buy a Switch and buy Ring Fit Adventure, and we're done.
Well, we jumped straight into the pre-order as soon as it was announced at E3. As soon as the pre-orders came up for it, Holly was straight on it. She was like, "I need to get that for the Switch." So we got it day one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it sold 5.84 million by today's count, so that's a lot.
Could have sold more if they had the stock.
Well, yeah, it's I suppose it's the nature of a physical product as well, like to get them built and shipped out there. It does add another dimension of difficulty in logistics. But yeah, followed up with a little bit of a jump then, upwards to Luigi's Mansion 3, which was applauded last Halloween. I'm sure a lot more copies were sold this past Halloween because it's just that perfect game for spooky, not so scary, friendly game. And I'm right in thinking it's the first one that ported over to a console, because the other ones were traditionally on 3DS. So this is the first.
No, the first one was on GameCube.
GameCube, yeah. First was GameCube.
But was it that long between titles?
Have had presence on the 3DS as well.
2 was on the 3DS, right? That must be what I'm thinking of. Because 2
was 3DS. Yes, 2 was 3DS.
Because I think that was what they were
saying.
So,
wow. Luigi's Mansion 1 was 2001 on the GameCube. Luigi's Mansion 2 was 2013 on the 3DS.
And then now we're on
12
Switch.
years
difference. Sell well? Did it not sell well or something? Or like, because it just seemed it seemed like one of them games that was quite beloved. Like,
it's poor Luigi, isn't he? Getting the shaft for generations.
He gets put on the back burner.
He does. Just like Waluigi and Wario kind of just seem to be shafted right now. Give us a new Wario game, Nintendo. I used to love the Wario.
I saw a petition on Twitter the other day to make Wario a Pokemon, or like it was a question to say, is Wario a Pokemon because of the fact that he only ever says his name.
I mean, that is a very good point. That is a very good point.
Yes, because Mario's known for epic amounts of dialogue.
It's me.
It's a me.
So, speaking of Mario, obviously there's a lot of games. So coming into number 10, we reach the new Super Mario's U Deluxe, which is the Wii. So you're going to see a lot of Wii U ports and iterations in this, because we know Wii U died a horrible, terrible, rightfully so painful death, and a lot of the best games that we just were not played on the Wii U have been ported over and found new, fresh life on the Switch. which has been amazing. As a Switch owner and someone who didn't have a Wii U, it's been great for me. Obviously, the Mario Bros. U Deluxe was just a repackaging of the Super Mario Brothers game over on the Wii U. That has clocked in and sold 8.32 million, beating out Luigi's Mansion 3. So, the other one. Again, Richie, you don't play the 2D platformers. I really enjoy them just because of the pick up and play nature with like co-op, couch co-op. You can jump in and pick your characters, and I think this one was up to 4. With the port Switch, they improved it up to 4, so you could jump in. Obviously, you need some more Joy-Cons, but you can jump in and play with that one. Another great title there. And then kind of probably the newest IP out of all of these Nintendo games. In at number 9, we've got Splatoon 2 with 11.27 million. This game, I think, surprised a lot of people. I didn't realise it was so vibrant as someone who's not played it.
Splatoon 1 was like one of them on the Wii U, where it's like it probably would have done a lot better if people actually bought the console. But no one bought the console, so I was like, okay. I think this just shows that Nintendo probably looked at it and gone, okay, this game didn't probably sell as much as we want, but probably the amount of like the install base as a percentage of console owners is probably quite high. Let's do another for the Switch. And wasn't it like one of the big ones announced on the launch for Switch as well?
It was, along with ARMS.
Oh yeah, ARMS. These things.
ARMS. Great.
I remember a lot of hype for as well for Smash Bros. Wasn't that introduced via Splatoon, like the initial reveal trailer of the new Smash game?
It's crazy how much again, Nintendo are masters of like kind of cross-pollination between all of their IP. Like so many characters that they just interweave into this Nintendo verse of characters, and it works so well. Which is why I'd love to see another Wario game, because he does exist out there somewhere in Mario Land, and he's or the Mushroom Kingdom, I should say. He's out there as well. Speaking of cross-pollination with characters as well, in at number 8, we've got Super Mario Party, 12.10 million sold. Another great title. Tom,
how many people, Chris?
How many people or how many copies?
How many copies sold?
12.10 million.
So that's at least 12.10 million angry people on the planet raging at each other, being like screwing each other in Mario Party, because I don't know if you guys have played it before, but Mario Party, wow, there is so much rage going on in that game.
The calculations that go on behind the scenes.
Isn't it one of them that destroys your Joy-Cons?
Oh, I mean, it just straight destroys friendships.
Injuries.
Straight destroys friendships.
It's just like you're clearly the winner, and then it just dishes out random points to whoever's like third place or something. And it's definitely an enjoyable but also equally frustrating party game for those who enjoy fair competition, in my eyes. But yeah, again, more Mario titles just keep getting in there, and all exclusives to this. Moving on though into number 7, one of my most favourite franchises of all time, the Pokemon franchise. It's actually the reason I bought my Nintendo Switch. Was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I'm a massive fan of the original Pokemon games. I ploughed so much of my childhood into not only red but blue, and then inevitably yellow.
Yeah, we did.
Even though it was the same game 3 times over. That's the magic of Nintendo. People buy...
Yeah, but had different Pokemon.
Yeah, but like, come on.
Depending which version you were playing.
Could you imagine if EA did this? A different version that with like mild differences, repackaged and resold as a totally different version. Shit would hit the fan with that one. But Pokemon gets a pass, and every year they come out with Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. And again, this was like kind of the spiritual 3D reanimation of the yellow version for me.
Yes, it was.
And it's the thing that I, as a Pokemon fan, have been waiting for many a decade now, is a 3D take on like my beloved childhood game. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, not too difficult. I knew the routes, I knew the path from memory. The music was like retweaked for the 21st century, and I just had so many like precious moments with it. It's like seeing all my characters in 3D as someone who's not played them year on year. I loved it, and I would love to play. I think the next rumored one is Silver and Gold, and loads of people are going, "Oh, don't Let's Play and fuck up Silver and Gold." As like I, for one, as a long-time old fan, never played Silver and Gold, so.
Oh really?
I've never. I didn't have a
Silver was probably the one I put the most time into.
Yeah, I didn't have a. What was the one that followed the Game Boy Color?
It was Game Boy Color, Silver and Gold.
Oh,
yeah, Silver and Gold was color.
Yeah.
Then Advance would have been Emerald. Ruby and Sapphire.
Right. Yeah. So so I just as a child, I was probably still just playing red, blue, and yellow.
Too much water. Yeah.
So either way, I
didn't get to experience the Lugia and Ho-Oh.
I mean, I watched the TV show still, so I knew all about them.
I was a massive fan of the Pokemon games, but Let's Go, the Let's Go series was everything I didn't want in the Pokemon games.
Oh.
It just seemed like a massive dumbing down of the concept, which is a very simplistic concept anyway.
But friends.
I don't like the fact I like to build a team and train it. I don't like the always on XP share stuff that they put in the new games. Like I really don't like it at all. Like
Richie's a member of the Elite Four.
I just think part of the experience of playing the Pokemon game is building your
battling,
team
making animals fight.
Well, you want to train your team. That's how you connect with your team. And if everything's just leveling up because you're just using your starter the whole time, it's just kind of bit meh to me.
Part of me did actually enjoy playing through it though. My whole team got XP. There was part of me she's like, "Oh, this is so much easier." It just is an adult with like limited time. I don't want to like plow several fights into a goddamn.
Not really having to battle Pokemon in the wild as well, just having to throw and catch them or running away.
You do one, So again, pros and cons, but it did sell 12.49 million copies. So
it did quite well.
I would be not surprised. I would not be surprised. I would be not surprised. Don't know why I restructured that sentence an hour. If we saw a silver and gold, because I for one would be out there buying it. So exclusives, and Game Freak out there doing the Lord's work, because
doing Game Freak
they've done nothing else for 3 decades bar make Pokemon games. Oh, they did have that one spin-off game. I can't remember what the hell it's called, but
they do have like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and stuff. Like they
Pokemon
do have
Pinball.
They are very much.
But it's all Pokemon.
And Nintendo don't own Game Freak, do they? Still somehow they've not acquired them. Which you would think.
I don't know. It's because there's Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo are all separate entities.
It's a weird convoluted. Next up, though, we've got number 6 with 18.99 million, so might as well just say 19 million copies sold. Super Mario Odyssey, not to be confused with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, both open world adventure games. But Super Mario Odyssey brings us to the mysterious adventures with Cappy. And once again, what was the New Donk City? New Donk City.
Yeah. Based on the original Donkey Kong game.
Oh, it's just, and they got so many plaudits this game as well. It just shows you that a good old 3D platformer is not a miss in the 21st century, and I love to see it.
This game is the point where I realised I need to start moving away from physical media and into digital, because I wish I had the digital version of that, so it'd just be on my Switch all the time, so I could just jump in every now and again, do a couple of like moons. But because I have to put the cartridge in, it means I've played a lot less than I probably would have done.
Goddamn cartridges! Don't lick them, by the way. Anyone who's got a Switch, they are specifically made to taste foul, so kids don't eat them. But I challenge you.
That.
Yeah, go lick a cartridge right now. That sounds like an insult. Tom, go lick a cartridge.
I was in your living room after I just bought my Switch, and you told me about that, and I didn't believe you at first. So I looked and went, "That tastes horrible."
Could you describe the flavour, Richie? It's like a sour vinegar, like.
It's just horrible. Like
it's like anti-nail biting.
Don't lick the cartridges.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's that like nail biting stuff.
Yeah,
isn't it? Like to stop you from biting your nails.
Don't lick your cartridges, kids. Don't lick your cartridges. But speaking of licky things, licky tongue, let's go over to the next game in at number 5 with 19.2 million sold. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Out there.
Is that more your kettle of fish, Richie, or your kettle of Pokemon? Your kettle of Goldines?
I already alluded to my issues with this game. It's like the things like the always on XP share, I really don't like as a concept. It's one of them, as I was excited for it, and the more the marketing campaign went on, the less excited I was getting. It's like what the Gigantamax thing just looks like such a... It's one of them, when you imagine you're in like just a free form, like, okay, we just throw out ideas, no bad ideas, but there's actually going to be some bad ideas in there. It's like someone just goes, what if we made them just big?
Yeah.
And then someone's like, that's it. That's our gimmick for this time.
Let's make Pokemon, but Godzilla.
Yeah.
So I just kind of give a pass on that one.
The XP thing for me, again, I didn't mind from Let's Play, but I do believe it should be an opt-in, opt-out thing you can play. It doesn't really impact the game, so...
This is why it kind of annoyed me, because previous games, you had the option to turn it on or off. So you could play the game how you wanted to. I wouldn't mind if it was like by default on and I could just switch it off.
Yeah.
But you're taking features away that I don't need taking away.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
I must admit, not to be a negative Nancy about it, but when I saw the legendaries and like it's a wolf with like a mane that looks like a shield and a wolf with a literal sword in its mouth, I was like, they've run out of ideas. They've run out of ideas now.
Do
They've
you
just
think
run
they
out.
pick the name
That's
first, then create the Pokemon for the newer ones?
Yeah, of course they do. They go, what two things do we have that could be like opposite each other?
I wouldn't be
Swords and
surprised.
shields.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like the design team is probably works on like the new batch before, like, and probably has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of concepts, and then they go, okay, it's going to be sword and shield. Let's look through the concepts. What can we convert to that theme? That sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm expecting the next one to be Pokemon McDonald's and Pokemon Burger King.
Any kind of opposites you can get.
Yeah,
it will get to that point. But yeah, the Gigantamax stuff for me was just like, I know I suspend my disbelief quite a lot for the world of Pokemon, but when they grow to the size of the whole stadium or arena the battle takes place in, and no one in the audience gets killed, or no one's damaged, or like come on, these things don't even fit in the arena anymore, and it doesn't add anything to the fight other than they're bigger and everything looks fucked up and out of scale. So
that's it.
What's
It's
the
just
point?
such a lazy concept.
Yeah, it really
like,
is.
let's just make them bigger.
That's some Digimon shit right
I don't
there. Digimon's great in its own right, though. But it's not on Switch, so that brings us on to the next
Digimon
one,
not the
which
champion.
was the launch game. What a game to launch with. Arguably one of the best
Yes.
games to of any console launch ever. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Totally out of nowhere rewrote, arguably, a lot of the open world mechanics that we now see in other massive world games. 19.74 million copies sold. Richie, you finished this game. We'll go straight over to you.
Yeah, I don't love this game as much as most people. There's a few things that I think actually kind of ruin the experience a little bit. Considering that it's a Legend of Zelda title that's all about exploration, like, good, I'm into that. But then they do things like the durability system on your weapons is just garbage.
Yeah, that's trash.
Especially things like, you look at things like, oh, we're going to shield surf mechanic. That is great fun until halfway down the mountain your shield just breaks and then you don't have any more shields. So, it's like them things where it's undermining itself.
Yeah.
In fact, like, just give me the ability to summon a horse from wherever I am. Don't make me have to go capture one every time. It's like, then little things that kind of put you off from the exploration side.
That's like,
that being said, I've still got like 90 hours in that game, so
you've got to get them Korok seeds, Richie.
I do love that game, but it definitely has flaws, and this is one of the things where I come across a bit more critical because I very rarely hear people talk about them. It's almost like because it's Legend of Zelda, you can't point out some obvious flaws.
Yeah. I can point out some flaws because I am very similar to you, where I'd never played a Zelda game before.
I have played lots.
Sorry.
That's similar to me.
But then playing this after the fact, I played and thoroughly enjoyed games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and other open world games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and stuff, to then get into a game where, like you said, you can't summon your horse. Shit breaks down. You don't have a map as such to find your way around. I found getting into the game as a newcomer incredibly difficult. Like, I was thinking, why am I doing this? What am I doing that? And I know it's a trait of Nintendo games. The text at the bottom. Like, how has it not got voice acting in these games yet? Like, just modernize it a little bit so I don't have to read all the goddamn time. Like, I like books. I have a lot of books. But when I play games, I want to be immersed in that world. And I feel like hearing the characters' voices and bring them to life with some kind of personality other than, like, it's, like, we'll get on Animal Crossing.
Link as a character is always been a blank slate. And they did have voice acting in a lot of the other the core cast. Just not everything was voice acted, but
silent protagonist, man.
I kind of think I know what they were doing for Breath of the Wild. It was like almost a homage to Zelda 1, which is all 100% about exploration. I kind of think they've probably stepped too far that way, and they need to make a step back to have a bit of a stronger narrative driving you through in the next one. Which I'm optimistic on the trailers for Breath of the Wild 2. So
I mean, we're getting a sequel, so massively interesting.
Beautiful world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful world.
And the ability to climb anything.
Very detailed. Yeah.
Was the best thing I think that came from for other games. Then we get into some very traditional games. So coming in at number 3, 21.10 million. It's relentless. It crosses genres, games, everything. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah.
There is not like, can this game do anything like with IP? Do they just knock on the people's doors and go, we want that in the game?
I mean, we've got Solid Snake, we've got Sonic the Hedgehog, we've got Pac-Man,
Banjo-Kazooie.
You
Banjo's
name
in
it.
there now,
They're in there now, really.
Is Cuphead in there? I feel like that was an announcement.
No.
Is he not?
They've got Joker from Persona is in there now.
Yeah.
They've got some Dragon Quest characters, Fire Emblem, but that's a Nintendo IP anyway.
They've got about 8 million Fire Emblem characters.
Oh yeah. There's far too many Fire Emblem characters in that game now, and they all use swords pretty much.
Yeah.
Apart from like maybe 2 of them. But no, fantastic game. I think one of the best things about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was they added an extra system where you could essentially play like a massive single player campaign with it as well. Like slightly different to the original one, but with like the Fate system, I think it was called, with where you get the stickers and you have to build a team and like combine main characters with like sub characters that will affect the character you play in the game.
Yeah. So
tons of fun.
Even characters that are not playable are referenced a lot, and it's this. Oh, what was it? It's the spirit system. So
Spirit system.
Yeah, you get these different spirits, so different have different abilities. Like okay, this one boosts your attack, this one boosts your defense, or this one has like fire damage, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much IP it spans. Like, how much do you think the biggest part of the budget for that game is that you spent on IP entirely?
I don't know, but it's just one of these things that other companies have now tried to do. Like, look at PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale and so on, and they've just not been able to do it successfully. Not the way that Nintendo have managed to do it with Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, I enjoy PlayStation Battle Royale. I just wanted it to have Spyro and Crash in there amongst Nathan Drake and a bunch of other people. Cuphead was in Smash Bros. He was in as unfortunately, it was one of the Mii characters. You know, like the Mii. It was just it was kind of like a skin for it, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, Microsoft making deals with Nintendo. Get it out there. But that brings us on to our final 2 games. In at number 2, still selling copies by the boatload in a shit show of a year that has been 2020. We got Animal Crossing New Horizons, which people who don't even play games who I work with were gushing about this. When lockdown first hit everyone, I think it was just the perfect thing that people need to escape into a relaxing world with Tom Nook, collect everything, share everything, create their own little world. It's such a cute.
It was a way
game
for people to socialise when they couldn't socialise in person.
Yeah. Perfect.
I mean, just to sort of put it out there, like the kind of people who were playing this game, I mean, we now, you know, all things being said, we won't get into politics and so on, but now the future president of the United States, Joe Biden, had an Animal Crossing New Horizons world that you could go visit. Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, has an Animal Crossing. Elijah Wood used to go around people's villages just randomly trading turnips on Twitter. He'd be messaging people for their codes to try to find out who's got the best price for selling turnips, and he'd just drop into their world. You know, just like so many famous people beyond the scope of gaming, I'm talking.
Yeah. It's one of them that crossed over. It's like the Wii all over again in a single game where it crossed beyond people who traditionally played games.
Yeah, and it's got the perfect skin to do so. Yeah, it just transcends like games really, because it's so cute. It's just one of the things where I think everyone at some point in their life is going to or will have played an Animal Crossing game.
Even Danny Trejo.
It utilizes one of the best things about the Switch is, well, you can have this in your dock, or you can just take it like this. You can put it in your bag, take it to work. So on your lunch break, just chip away, do a few little things.
Listen to KK
Almost
Slider's
like
latest beat.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and one of the ones I can't believe is that Gary Whitta, who is the writer of Star Wars Rogue One, has a talk show that takes place within the world of Animal Crossing, and it's just like, what world is that where he has a studio and he interviews famous people? He had Phil Spencer from Xbox on just
like stylish show, but just inside Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I actually think when the Microsoft news dropped that Halo Infinite wasn't coming out, Phil Spencer was on that talk show like the next day, and he had to address that news like on a Nintendo platform,
on a Nintendo game,
being interviewed by someone who wrote Star Wars. It's like, what kind of mix mash of like pop culture is this? But
I just love the gaming industry.
It's stuff.
It's mental.
How was it? But yeah, 26.4 million copies is a lot of copies, and it's on the cusp of catching up with our number one slot, our number one selling.
Is it Tetris 99?
It's not Tetris 99.
Is that was Mario free? Kart 8.
It is, Tom. You're totally right. It's Mario Kart
Yeah!
8 Deluxe, which is obviously
Yes.
the repackaging from the way, but it just shows you that a kart racing game is evergreen. I think it's one of those titles that if you buy a Nintendo property, you will be playing Mario Kart at some point.
Yeah.
Because it's so fun. It's so just easy to pick up and play. Like, I play that with the wife as well, and it's so fun. It just works.
What
It's
I
easy.
don't get about Mario Kart is Nintendo aren't utilizing it as well as they could be. They don't produce that much DLC for it.
No, they don't.
But maybe
No,
the
I think
simplicity is what keeps people playing it.
Your favourite
Yeah, but
8 tracks, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just feels like a couple of years in, you just maybe once a year you bring out a DLC pack. It keeps it even more evergreen and just makes you a bit more money. And I don't think people will be that offended by it.
No.
As long as there's enough substance in the core game.
Yeah. What caught me out quite a lot when I did pick up the Switch and inevitably picked up Mario Kart playing it, the lack of considering how many characters Smash Bros has in it, the lack of Nintendo characters that like there is no Wario in Mario Kart 8.
Really?
No.
Wario was in
wait,
like the first Mario
He
Kart.
might
like,
be. He might be now.
Yeah.
Waluigi maybe?
Waluigi's in it. I play as
wow.
Waluigi all the time.
Just-
Who isn't then?
I
There
was
must
about to
be.
say, does anyone even care about Waluigi?
I feel like in my mind there's
Thanks.
loads of characters that are missing. Or am I just wrong?
I think it's a much smaller selection of people.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm
Link
being
is in it.
confused.
Zelda's in
because-
Link was in.
I think I might
That
be
was
getting
it.
confused because there's so many characters that have about 50 iterations, like the Rose Gold Peach and stuff. Like, that's lazy.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
lazy.
right. Yeah, it is.
But either way, in at number 1, surely, do we think we're going to see another Mario Kart 9?
Yeah, at some point. It's what
It's more of
Nintendo
a when
do, don't
rather
they?
than if.
Yeah.
Like,
That Rainbow
Nintendo
Bridge.
rehash and rehash
yeah,
and
we
rehash.
it's
need-
one of them is in case of a quiet year, break glass, Mario Kart 9. There you go.
Yeah, very much so. So, in conclusion, then, gentlemen, many, many amazing games. Let's just have a quick count as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
The thing is-
Every one of those top 15 are exclusive to Nintendo. Talk about
There's some
exclusives
honourable
having
mentions.
power.
I think we need to bring up some honourable mentions because there's some big hitters that we've missed.
Go on, throw them at us.
Like Octopath Traveler. That is a fantastic game. Now you can get on Stadia, so buy it there.
Indeed.
Tetris 99, I love that game. Like, if you like Tetris, that's a fantastic game.
Very true.
The Nintendo Online offerings, the NES and Super Nintendo things, like you basically have the entire NES and SNES libraries. There you go. That can't fault that. What else? There's
Xenoblade games for JRPG lovers as well.
Yeah,
Xenoblade games.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse is on there. Like, there's a huge list of titles that are just
I mean, Richie, you could spend all this time talking about it if you had a Nintendo podcast, but
We don't.
we're a Stadia podcast, so
We are indeed. But here we are talking about games of a generation. So by default, do we have to strike out these games that are Wii U ports? Does Mario Kart 8 not be part of the conversation because technically it's from the Wii U era? So when we're talking about
No, I
games
think
of
it should stay.
when we're talking about games of a generation, we're talking Switch, PS4, Xbox One.
it's
Actually-
the same debate as whether remakes and remasters should be allowed to the Game of the Year candidate discussion. I think
well, this is our decision this time, so we can make our own rules.
Well, what do you guys
What
think?
do we want to go with?
Because maybe Mario Kart 8 has to be.
I kind of want to say Nintendo for Nintendo, but that means we'd also have to carry that over to like other like platforms as well.
But I think it's more. I think you'd find it more frequently occurring in a Nintendo platform than you would with other platforms.
So are they getting a
but
pass
for like
because they do it more
PlayStation, do we
regular?
count Last of Us? For PS4,
no,
could you count Last of Us? Like, because that came out initially on PS3.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But The Last of Us 2 didn't.
Yeah.
I say
Yes.
scrap them.
Well,
Scrap them.
Scrap them.
Scrap them.
Wipe
Makes
it
it,
off.
makes it easier. So
Not
goodbye
allowed.
Mario Kart 8. Goodbye Link's Awakening. Goodbye.
Do we count Link's Awakening because it's a remake, not a
This is
remaster?
What
either
did
way.
I
That
just
was a
say?
Yeah.
So here's the great thing with this post-show content is that we can condense all this down and we'll discuss it in a few weeks' time once we've covered Microsoft and once we've covered Xbox and PlayStation as well. And we've condensed our list right down to what really are the best games of a generation. But that is a solid 45 minutes of Nintendo Switch conversation on a Stadia post-show podcast. But like we said right at the top of the beginning, we all enjoy games. We all play games.
We do.
And we've got no biases here. We play games where we enjoy them the most when we make them us play happy. You get where I'm going with that. But that is post-show numero 16. Thanks for stopping by for our Game of a Generation discussion. Next week will be ever the more interesting with the colourful green side of the world, which is Microsoft and their Xbox platform. Obviously, our lovely patrons got this almost a week early over on patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia. So do not forget to head over there if you want to give us a little bit more support, get the show early, and chat with us privately as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't know why I'm pointing down to... It's below you, Richie. Just popped up below you. Look shocked. There it is. Like and subscribe down below. It does help us share the content that we do make and increases the algorithm. But yeah, it's been a good one, gents. There's a lot of content to talk about here and some fantastic games. Like
feels like we just scratched the surface as well.
We did. But then this is why we need to branch out and make a Switch podcast when we go full time in 2077. And that happens
when Cyberpunk comes out.
When Cyberpunk comes out. But yeah, that's it for episode 16. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comments down below what your favourite Nintendo Switch games are. And we'll see you all next week. Take care. Goodbye. Play games.
Bye-bye.
Bye.